Yes.
There we go.
Okay. Okay. I would like to call to order the regularly scheduled Sylvania Township Board of Trustee meeting, August 20th at 6 p.m.
Call the roll of Mr. Haddad.
Here. Here.
Donaway.
Here.
Simcoe. Here.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Did anyone have any changes or any concerns about the August 6 minutes?
Nope. No, not at all.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Mahoney.
Sure.
Seconded by Mr. Haddad.
Whatever.
Take that as a yes. All in favor of the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, they're approved.
Do we have any additions or deletions to the agenda this evening?
Yeah,
Yes.
a couple things to bring up myself, but go ahead, John.
I have a deletion from the agenda under the fire department, item number 10, resolution 13-083. I'd like to remove that from the agenda for further review.
Okay.
Kevin?
Yeah, I've got a couple things to bring up. One about OTA stuff, and another one about Township Association, and one about Sister Cities. So we can throw those on in the bottom down there.
Okay. Hearing of the public on specific agenda items. All right. And that puts Darrell up.
Good evening. The zoning monthly report for the month of July. We had another strong month permit-wise, 37 permits as opposed to 25 last year, and just under 3.9 million in value of the permits. Year-to-date, we're at 189 and almost 19.5 million in value. So we're continuing to roll right along with that. The single-family dwelling permits, we are at 53 for the year-to-date. That's a 104% increase over the last year, and $11,408,000 in dollar value, and that's a 41% increase over last year. A new item I've got on the monthly report is zoning complaints. I won't go into each one, but it was kind of a busy month for that. We had 33 as opposed to 17 last year. But year-to-date is pretty much in keeping with the past 2 years.
That's great, Darrell. Nice thinking.
Thank you. For meetings, we had, the Board of Zoning Appeals just had one case. It was a variance for a screened-in porch that would be into the rear setback, and that was denied. Zoning Commission meeting had nothing on the agenda. That was canceled. And we had one topic on project plan review, and that was the parking lot down the street, 4126 North Howland, the medical office building. They're enlarging their parking lot. As far as items of note, I can let you read through that. This is the only one that I really wanted to point out, though, is the first one. The single-family dwelling permits, as mentioned, are 53 for year-to-date. For 2012, we had 52 for the entire year, so we've already passed that up, and 2012 was our best year since '07, so we're really looking good. It's just going to make it harder next year, though. My next item, the Resolution 13088, authorization to abate the property at 4033 Mockingbird Lane. I drove by there today. The property has been cut, so I don't need that resolution.
Yeah, I drove over there too. On my way home.
That's all I've got.
Question, what are we doing about John Jagogowski's? Because I drove out there and that compost pile is pretty big.
Actually, I was out there this afternoon. nothing's been added to the compost pile for a few years. And
I know,
it's-
but I'm just saying it's still a big compost pile. What do you-
Well, but it's more than, 3 feet from the property
Right.
line, so there's no zoning violations.
What, do you want me to call them up and let them get involved with the county for the health issues of it because of the rodents living in it?
What
I
do you
don't-
think the township can do, Kevin?
Nothing from the township point of view. I'm just saying, should we call the county and let them get involved in it?
I think we've all referred them to the county. I mean, I've spoken to them a few times, and John, you sent the email this week.
I'll call over there and talk to the health department about the issue.
You know, all those raccoons and possums aren't coming from that
I know.
compost pile.
They're all everywhere.
Those are wooded lots, they're all 5-acre wooded lots, you know, those things are all over the place.
Oh, I know, I see them when I go out there to the HEPA property on Central Avenue because I cut the trees down over there and they're all over the place there too. All right,
Thanks for taking a look, Dale.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Huffman.
Greg?
Good evening. The monthly report for July has been submitted. I highlighted some areas here of concrete curb repairs. We're moving along very well in some of the neighborhoods, trying to keep the curbs in shape. And of course, when that occurs, then the drainage drains a lot better. Speaking of drainage, we helped a few areas there off of Wilford, Central, Blossman. We had some overhead crane training, and that's by our crane maintenance provider, Bowl Crane, offered a good class, a refresher class on proper lifting techniques with the crane and such. And we prepared for the new vehicle refueling station project, and as you can see, that has started just last week, and we're off to a good start. So things are well with that. We've identified some key items with that project where the computer will be set up in Sheila's office. Basically, it'll be a computer that monitors where the fuel is distributed. So Sheila has access to that so she can charge the appropriate departments. But as far as the tank monitoring and all that, we'll keep that back in our area, and Gary and the maintenance will monitor that. Other items, the brush pickup starts in September 9th. That's on the website along with the household pickup, which we've secured that contract with Stevens, and shortly after that we'll be in leaf pickup. No other questions. I'll move on to the other items. Recommending resolution 13-084. This is to enter into a contract with Cleanwood Recycling. They were the low bidder for a leaf pickup. This is a contractor that we annually bid this out for about 2 weeks worth of work to augment the township crews during the peak leaf pickup season.
I'll offer resolution 13-084, an award bid to Cleanwood Recycling.
Second.
Mr. Haddock?
yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genoway?
Yes.
Recommending the next resolution, 13-085, to enter into a contract, award bid to enter into contract for the microsurfacing project. This is for the DG Slurry Seal of Toledo with the amount of $17,949. Mr. Beck, if you could look at the other attachment I have for this, the bids were crazy, anywhere from $17,000 to, I think, $39,000.
They were.
But anyways, proud to say that the Slurry Seal of Toledo, locally owned and locally employed people will be working for us on that.
I'll offer resolution 13-085, award and enter into contract with the microsurfacing project with Surrey Soil of Toledo.
Second.
Mr. Haddock?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genoway?
Yes.
Next item is resolution 13-086 to purchase a pickup truck. Secured bids from local dealers, and Kistler Ford came in at the lowest price. This will be a truck for our road foreman, and we will switch some trucks around and get rid of the one that's, the frame's almost rusted out,
Okay.
on the oldest one.
Offer 13-086, authorization to purchase pickup from Kistler Ford.
Second.
Calling the roll, Mr. Haddock?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genoway?
Yes.
Next item, bring to your attention, very pleased to report, we have secured a contract with the Ohio Department of Transportation on the state cooperative purchasing system at $32.52 per ton for the salt this year. It's been years since I have seen $32 a ton.
I was just saying the same thing, Craig.
I bet it's over 10 years. So, anyways, no resolution or anything needed for
Nope.
that, just
That's a great
for your
price.
information.
I thought we were going to be at 50 or 60 bucks this year again. That's pretty
We weren't
good.
last year, we were at 42.
Yeah.
It wasn't
I thought
50 or
it was gonna
60.
go
Well, hopefully we have another mild winter.
Yes,
Yeah.
I hope so too. I hope our snow plows rust away.
up. Yep.
Greg, not to be on the spot, I noticed they started working on here, you want to just kind of mention the,
As the refueling station, the excavation has started. We have the temporary fuel pods, those are in place. We tested those today, those are filled. And we will fill the existing fuel tanks, because we do not want any buoyancy to occur during the excavation. And Chief will let you know when we switch over to the temporary tanks, and but for the next couple of weeks, there'll be a little congestion involved, but I think overall, we're on the right track.
How long do we expect that project to last?
Hopefully no more than 3 weeks. Hopefully September 10, 11, 12, we're finished.
Great.
Great.
Yeah, when I reviewed that down in Columbus, it's a great machine and works great, and we don't have to worry about a penny then anymore.
No.
Okay.
Thanks, Greg.
Okay.
that's great. Chief, monthly report?
You have before you the July monthly report. On page 2, you can see that we're still running a little bit over what we did last year, 193 fire incidents over from what we did last year. Page 3, we're just a little under our EMS reports than what we had last year. Page 4, I know you're interested in the mutual aid contract. We received mutual aid from Springfield Township for a structure fire. We had to contact Springfield Township for an ambulance because there were no ambulance in service in the entire county, and they had transferred one of our local people. Community risk reduction on page 5. We had 8 public education events, 4 apparatus displays events, and 6 station tours, and we also installed 8 smoke detectors. Notable projects from the plan review from Deputy Chief Freilich, 7 plan reviews, 3 license inspections for preschool daycare facilities, and 2 environmental review requests that we had for properties on Haruna and Monroe Street. Fire safety inspections were conducted by our on-duty crews, 279 for that month. Lucas County EMS training, there's no training during the month of July or August. We'll back in September on ACLS, that will be an 8-hour training session, so the crews will be going to 8 hours instead of the usual 4 hours. We trained with the individuals, firefighters on IEDs, and we also trained on some new hazardous materials response kits that we received from Toledo Fire Division through a grant program. Page 7 is an EMS STEMI follow-up. This came from the nursing staff from Toledo Hospital. I draw your attention to the second bullet. Patient received treatment for ACS from a team including medics Cliff Reeves, Kirk Wolf, Shane Hillard, and Timothy Osborne. Scene time was 8 minutes. Wow, that is phenomenal for a STEMI. We got the patient diagnosed with a STEMI, got them transported to the hospital. The lab time, cath lab, was 21 minutes. This is all about saving lives. The quicker we can get there and get them into the cath lab, the quicker they can be discharged to a normal life. That's all I have, unless you have something for me.
I do, Chief. On the accident, now, did they get the ambulances there yet?
The first ambulance came from Mobile Care. The second ambulance came from just west of, or east of Toledo Hospital.
That concerns me, being the start of a township, we don't have an ambulance service, that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Chief. Chief Bowman, monthly report, short one.
Well,
I don't even have to get up here if you don't want. Before you, I'll just move very quickly, page 2, the numbers speak for themselves as far as the calls we took into dispatch. Page 3, I'm happy to report that we're down in every category except property damage, auto accidents, where we're up a little bit, and we've had one arson this year that we didn't have last year at this time. But on the positive side, we had a homicide at this time last year, and we have no homicides. But in every other category, we're down. Robberies, we're significantly down from 14 to 4, which is really good. On page 4, detective caseload. Again, the numbers speak for themselves. I'll just point out that there were 78 cases assigned in the month of July. They cleared 30 of them, and there's 48 remaining active. They cleared 21 additional from earlier for a total of 51 cases cleared. Page 5, I'll just let you read that. It's just continuing investigations by our detective that's in the DEA task force. Again, you'll see that they did seize almost $55,000 in U.S. currency, in which it depends on the particular case, but usually we average between 7 and 11% of money seized that we end up getting through our participation in the DEA task force. Sylvania, or the fireworks, Centennial Terrace fireworks, July 3rd, it went fairly well. It gets bigger every year, and more traffic, and I know we employed, the same as last year, about 21 officers on that detail alone, not counting the people that we have to work on the road to answer calls and such. We had a lot of calls for service in those couple hours right before we had to close the roads down and such. Thankfully, I know we had a lost 4-year-old that came in at Pace Center that, thank God, it was about 15 minutes before we were going to close the roads and had all our officers deployed, and they quickly found that child. Otherwise, we would have had a real mess.
Wow.
But something I haven't provided before that might be of interest to you is that the township incurred 50.8 hours of overtime to staff that event. An intern, Sylvania Rec, paid for 36 hours of officer at the same rate. Okay, so we had 50.8 hours at the overtime rate, but then I charge Ken the overtime rate for the off duties that he employs. He employs 6 of them for 6 hours each. So they're picking up, almost 50%, probably about 40%, 35% of the cost. We had the speed trailer out a couple of different places, namely Carskadden Road and Hill Road. That's in response to complaints. Citizens Patrol Group donated 72 and a half hours of service patrolling the streets and such, and also helped us out at the fireworks event. New page 8, our police canine unit. You probably find this very interesting. As you know, ongoing training is very important, so you're going to see a figure up there of 12 to 16 hours each month for training. Operation Shield was an event. You've heard of Circle Toledo, different things. This is the second year for Operation Shield. It's been very successful both years. In the first sentence there, you'll note that basically it's to enforce traffic laws, narcotics laws, look for OVIs, just several things like that, just to, in effect, clean up the streets. I will tell you something that's not noted on there is we actually incurred 80 hours of overtime, employing 5 officers to join in this effort. All the local police agencies do, but all 80 of those hours were paid for by the state of Ohio through a grant. So we incurred no expense to be out there and visible in the township, mainly on the expressway. Getting back to the canine unit, again, you can see it's been very successful. This is just the month of July. If you remember, he started in the month of June, but in July, you can see the marijuana, 39 grams, the paraphernalia, the crack cocaine, the cash seizure. I will add that so far since the implementation of the K-9 unit, we've seized about $3,500 in cash. And actually 3 vehicles total, counting June. So that continues to be very successful and very proactive. Page 9, just a letter dated in July, you'll see that we got our DARE grant again in the amount of $22,186. And with that, I'm done. If you have any questions.
Thanks, Chief.
I had a couple things.
Sure.
A couple meetings ago, you brought a map up and showed us like where the violations were happening in the community.
Yes.
Could we put that on the website on a weekly or monthly basis? I think
Yeah.
the residents would be interested to.
Okay.
I mean, the Blade does it on Saturdays. They've got that thing on the inside page of the second section.
Yeah, on Saturday.
I mean, I always
mornings.
check that to see what's close to my house and stuff, but I think it would be nice if we had it on our website as well.
Okay.
The other thing, Kevin, at the last meeting, you said you were going to contact your cousins who own that bar. How did you resolve that issue?
I talked to Don Finnegan, I talked to Moosey and all those guys, and I asked them, and they're looking at this now, to put up a sound barrier on that back wall, so it'll be like a clear thing, but it absorbs the sound, so it won't get back in the residence. So they're hopefully doing it this fall. I'll check up this week, because I'm going over for lunch on Monday.
Chief, you worked with them as well?
Yeah, I actually have had ongoing, almost daily, conversations with Mr. Mauder, the gentleman that was in here 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
And also with, well, I had a meeting with Scaff, Finnegan, and Musa
Right.
about 2 weeks ago. Actually, I went out there last Friday to make my own observations, okay? In a nutshell, Mr. Mauder was satisfied. Mr. Scaff was over there with him in his yard from about 11 o'clock to about 11:30 or so. But then actually Scaff left and Mauder reported to me that basically the music did get a little bit louder after, and I don't think that's anything to do with Scaff. I think he's doing the best job he can. But quite frankly, I've spent a lot of time on it. I'm tired of dealing with it.
Yes.
Scaff was also talking directly to Mauder, which I wasn't real comfortable with, because I think it puts Mauder in an uncomfortable position. So actually today, I kind of laid the law down to Scaff. I told him, and I alluded to this a week before, but I was going to see how this week went. Because by my observations, quite honestly, I sat next to the bar talking to the officers in the parking lot there. Then I proceeded back around Meriwether behind the fence. And it's really surprising. There is nothing to knock that noise down. It's almost the same as if you're right next to the bar.
So I said we should get a sound barrier there.
Yeah.
I talked to Don, he says, that's a good idea, Kevin. I talked to Moosey, he said he's going to talk to Joey. They haven't got back to me yet, but I'm going Monday. I'll see Moosey for lunch.
Okay, well, until that time, I talked to Scaff today, and I told Scaff, you close the doors, or you play the music no louder than a loud jukebox.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're going to write a citation.
Yeah.
Very good.
I'm done messing with it, because Mauder's been pretty patient, and by my own observation, it was pretty loud. And I really believe Scaff will take care of it, because he's made a lot of effort.
Yeah.
So we've got cooperation on both sides.
Okay.
Thank you.
The other thing, did you work with Kevin on the grants for the dogs?
I gave them the information, but she can't seem to find it on the website. It's still there, it's still available. I talked to people down in Columbus. So I'm going to go meet with probably Ray. I'll get coffee with him and give him the whole thing so he can take it over to Nancy. And then have her
Yeah,
send it.
we've got nothing as far as,
I gave Nancy 3 times, but she couldn't find the proper site to get to. And I called the Columbus people. I've got it written down on a piece of paper. I'm going to take it over to Ray, get it to him on Monday, hopefully, or Tuesday next week. Because this week's been really swamped since they had the Township Association dinner. And all this stuff's done, I'll get over to him, and then you guys can apply for it, because the money's still there. I talked to the girl down there in Columbus.
Okay, we've seen
I'll get
nothing
it to
in
her.
writing,
It's
so.
fine. Because I said we got to do it this week.
Okay,
It's good through October. Then after that, we have to reapply for next year. We still could get it, but she said you might not get it the full amount because it's in the next year's money then.
okay.
Okay? All right, Chief.
Well, maybe at least get him the name and
Yeah,
stuff
no,
so
I
that
got-
he can
I
move
got the whole
forward.
website all
Well, you
down.
brought it up 3 months ago, and
Yeah.
we want to make sure it's moving forward.
Oh, well, I'll take care of it. Thank you.
Okay, John?
Yeah. I have one resolution, and what's kind of unique about this resolution, it's actually done under the Township Home Rule, which we do about one a year. This is a resolution to contract with the Lucas County Prosecutor. The ORC permits Home Rule townships to contract with the prosecutor. As you know, we've done this for the last 3 years at a flat $90,000 a year. They're proposing a 2-year contract at $95,000 a year for the next 2 years. And I think that's more than justified, and I don't need to tout the prosecutor's work with the KME lawsuits. This fall, we'll start labor negotiations with all 3 unions. And as you know, a lot of times we say John Burrell. There's actually 5 prosecutors that we use a lot. Lawsuits, Andy Renaud, I won't go through the names, but there's 5 prosecutors that basically service the township for whatever, labor negotiations, civil lawsuits. So I'm recommending this contract for the next 2 years at $95,000 a year.
I have a comment to make. I spoke to John, and I asked him specifically, are you guys getting a raise out of this money for all the work you're doing? He said that's what he was informed. I called Steve Papademus, and Steve told me, well, that's my intention, but it's up to the commissioners, and it's also up to Julie if she wants to give them raises. If we're just going to give them to pad the budget for the county commissioners or for the prosecutor, I won't approve this. I want to make sure they're getting raises out of this money, John. That's what I was really concerned about, because if they're not getting the money and it's just going to go to the pot, then we might as well just keep piling money into the county and not doing anything for these people who do the work. Because he hasn't had a raise in over, I think it's almost 5 years now, John told me. And I just get disappointed for the work that these people do, all for us in the township. I just think it's wrong that we're going to give them more money if they're not getting a raise out of it, guys. That's up to you to decide.
I understand your comment,
Go
but
ahead. Because you don't look at anything, you don't want to research anything, you just want to do this.
We don't have any business telling the county what they have to do or should do.
I think we do.
I'll offer Resolution 13-504 to contract with Lucas County Prosecutor.
Second.
Call for Mr. Haddad?
No.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
And for the record, they've done a great job.
They've done.
Yeah, they're awesome. They get a raise out of the money. I don't care
They've done a
what
great
they're
job.
I think they deserve a raise, and if they're not getting a raise, I don't think we deserve to give the county the money.
that's the only thing I have under administrator.
Okay.
Mr. Chinko?
Yes. We have the July month-end analysis, and it's up there. I think really the thing to, I mean, you can look specifically at the numbers, but last 2 paragraphs, the revenue continues to be on target, and the expenditures are in very good shape as of, through July. There's no real reason to expect that they're going to be changing. I mean, we have a trend going unless something unusual comes up. So that's really all I have on that. I did want to, I have something to pass out to you. I had asked Jim Beck to work on some projections for the rest of the year, as to how we might be looking. And he, Jim, really put in really a lot of time on this, and John Zeitler, so I'll pass it down to you. But it just shows our major funds, of course, and if you look far to the right, the general fund, because of, the general fund's doing well, but it's doing very well because of a large estate tax increase. And so we should have $700, almost $85,000 in additional money that will be going toward our reserves in the general fund. And then in the road and bridge fund, again, moving down, we should have about, at year end, if things go as we really project, and there can be some unusual, unforeseen things that could occur, but if they go as we expect, we should have an additional $694,000 roughly in the road and bridge fund, so that's doing well, too. If you flip the page and see the police fund, while our estimated collections are down slightly, the actual estimated expenditures are actually down even more. And so we should end up with an additional $283,000 plus in the police fund than where we were when we started. So it's our expenditure control that is really helping us in the police fund. And the same is true really in the fire fund. Our receipts, our estimated collections are going to be down slightly from what we thought they might be, down a little bit. But our expenditures are where we are actually making up really our ground. We're really holding the line on the expenditures, and so we should end up with a slight increase, about $215,000 at year end on our reserves for the fire fund. And so we're in the right direction on everything. If everything stays as it is. Our revenues are doing fairly well, pretty close to what we're projecting, down slightly in the latter two funds of police and fire. But the most important thing, I think, is that our expenditures, we're really doing well with those. And this is kind of an accumulation of what we've been reporting through this month. But also, Jim spent quite a bit of time working on where we think we'll be over the next 5 months. And so I think right now, I think this is good, positive news that where we're standing. So I thought I would just give this to you and let you take a look. You can study more when you get some time. I don't know whether Jim or John Zeitler have any comments. Thanks to Jim for spending so much time on it.
Thank you. Great news.
Do you have anything, John?
Just, and you've mentioned this meeting after meeting, how, as you have said, in all the funds, expenses are down from what budgeted. And I think that just goes to the departments. I have to give everybody credit, as you have before, for holding the line of expenses, making sure it's absolutely necessary to spend the money that we're spending, because we all realize that, we're on a decline and we have to do what we have to do to balance the budget. So I just want to thank all the departments for watching their budgets very closely. And if it's all right, I'll have Jim put this up on our website tomorrow.
Well, yeah,
Great.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
They want to look at it, they can see it on the website. And Jim has been absent a meeting or two. He was on vacation, Jim back in that, and so I thought, so that he doesn't get out of practice, Jim, to take care of the resolution tonight in the fiscal part, because I'm exhausted. So Jim.
Thank you, Mr. Simcoe. I really didn't want to get out of practice. First resolution that I have for your consideration is Resolution 13089. This is to increase, asking for an increase in unencumbered balance. And basically, this is for interest that's earned throughout the first 7 months of the year. And we're using money from these funds, from the road, police, fire, and general fund, and the little funds, but basically these bigger funds. But Ohio, the revised code doesn't allow me to credit that interest to those funds directly. Okay. So what we've done in the past is we've kept track of it, given it to them through a transfer. So I'm asking for an increase in the transfer out funds, and it's the next page, if I can, I'll get to it here for you.
I'll do the first one, offer 13-089, appropriate monies from the unencumbered balance.
Second.
Mr. Gadea.
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney.
Yes.
Mr. Gentleman.
Yes.
Thank you. The second one, 13-090, is to physically transfer that money from the general fund to the various funds. So you've increased the encumbrance in the previous one, and now I want to transfer the money, physically transfer the money.
So offer 13-090 to transfer and advance the funds.
Second.
Mr. Gadea.
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney.
Yes.
Mr. Gentleman.
Yes.
The final resolution, 13-091, is just to increase, transfer some monies from some accounts that we're a little short on. We need to get some money into emergency management, into contracts. The third one there is donations, that's a fire grant fund, and they just want to use, instead of the equipment, they want to use it for something else, so it's $500 from one to another. And the last one is for some, in the road department and computer, we're just transferring some money to cover what we think might be a shortfall towards the end of the year.
I'll offer Resolution 13-091, transfer appropriations.
Second.
Mr. Haddad?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genoway?
Yes.
Thank you, I have nothing more.
Thanks,
Welcome
Jim.
back, Jim.
I would like to take a minute here to, for the last several years, the financial side of things has been a dismal outlook. We've stayed on top of it. We've really tried to manage to this position, and it's, very encouraging that this is positive news here. We're under budget and things are going well, and, again, I want to attribute that to our staff, and it starts from the top and goes all the way to the bottom, and I just think everybody's doing a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, open discussion.
First off, the state just came up with a change. We're going to get a 5% decrease in the local government fund next year.
Kevin, could you cite where you get this information? Because the last several times you've been wrong.
Columbus, this is what Heidi said.
Heidi, what's her last name? So we can
Heidi
get.
Foyt from OTA.
Okay.
She goes to all the state meetings and she sends us the information. The budget was just changed again where they were going to reduce this for us. Whereas I'm going to bring up the second thing here too, that Lou Tehar from Cincinnati is putting a bill together to put on there that there is 24 municipalities in Ohio that are under financial distress, and we don't want to end up with the Detroit, so they're going to be passing a law that if you're in financial distress for 60 days, they're going to take you over from the state before you file bankruptcy or get in that kind of a debt situation. And last but not least, there's House Bill 240 getting on where they're going to remove special elections in February and August. And they're trying to get that done, and that was just recently introduced. As they progress, I'll let you know how it goes. Because I keep all these things as facts being down there.
Well, so far, none of them have been facts, so it's
This is what
difficult.
they're talking about Columbus. It's facts that they send me, and then when the state changes it, I just bring it to you, present it. It's not what I guess, it's what they do.
Excuse me, do you have the email or from Heidi? I didn't get anything on that.
I'll send it to you. I'll forward it to you.
Well, send it now, you've got your computer.
Which, pardon?
Send it now, you've got your computer
I will.
there.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell them also, John, did you apply for those local government, since we did that group thing with Swanton and Richfield? To get local government innovative fund? Because when I was down in Columbus at that meeting, at the county meeting, that's when she said, tell them to send us a letter to apply for those funds, because we can get those
The
replaced.
Richfield, as I understand, has not forwarded us any resolution.
I can get that from Art, he's the chairman now, and I'll make sure he gets it.
John, and once again, he's not here to defend it, but John Burrell is also their attorney out there, and he says they
I'll
have
get it
not.
for you, and then I think Swanton.
Well, they
did one
haven't
too.
passed anything, so.
Right.
But they said that since we did that, they want to give us
Well,
money for it.
we have to have the agreements.
I agree, but I'm just saying, that's what they want, okay?
One thing I do want to mention about the 24 municipalities, in the budget that you guys have presented, we are out to 2021 right now. It looks like maybe 2022 in the general fund?
Yes.
Okay, and you guys have done a great job of assuming the worst, okay?
Conservatively, I don't want to say assuming the worst.
So,
We've been very conservative with our.
in defense of what Mr. Haddad's saying here, you guys have got, we got this thing as tight as.
Right.
You guys have done a great job. So I don't care about the other 24 municipalities right now as much as I care about what we're doing in the township and how we're handling the monies and making sure that we're budgeting it and we're going down the right path. Okay, thank you.
You guys are aware of it.
I'm well aware of it. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then last but not least, we had the, two other things. We had the Township Association dinner, turned out very nice. It was a good function. Jim liked it. You showed up here the other day for it, and we had a pig roast. It turned out really well, and it wasn't that expensive as it was last year.
Great.
Other than that, for Sister Cities, we are going to be having a night before party on October 19th at the Elks. And the Home Wreckers is the band going to be playing that night. So I don't know if anybody's aware of that band, and they're really
The
good.
Home Wreckers.
They're a
The
local
band?
band from our area. They're from Sylvania.
I grew up with them.
I know, and I'm saying they're going to be playing that night, and it's going to be with all the people from the Canadians coming down for the Sister Cities party for the Fall Festival on Sunday. So if you want a nice event, that's going to be a great party. We're going to have the whole Elks facility, because the wedding got canceled that night. So it'll hold like 700-800 people there, and we're hoping to get 1,000 people in and out through the whole night.
And what was the date?
October 19th, Saturday night. The bad news is I started this whole thing, I got it all going, I'm not going to be there. My cousin that passed away, his son's getting married that day in Grand Rapids, and he asked me to be like the uncle there for him because he has nobody or family to be at the wedding for him. So it's Michigan. I'll be back before midnight, so I'll catch the end of the party.
Do we have any hearing of the public on non-agenda items?
Very distinguished gentleman.
Al Hayes.
Mr. Al Hayes of 7040 Whitetail.
Right.
Saving you time.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. As you can see, it's a little different look for me. Also a gentler, kinder Al, hopefully. With that being said, I have a couple questions. I would like to elaborate on a couple other things, and maybe you could answer them for me after I'm done. I just wondered, I haven't heard anything about how the budget was going for the new fire station. It looks like it's going along. That's one of the questions, and I just wondered how that budget was going on that, number one. With recent trouble at Olander, as Mr. Zeitler has been in the paper, I understand now there's going to be an audit. I just heard that today. I'm a little bit concerned about Sajar, which there's a lot of loose cash there. If you've ever been out to Centennial, there's a lot of cash moving around through that place. I don't know if they've ever had a certified audit.
Yes, we do, because I'm on the board. I'm the member from your board.
On Sajar?
They have a certified audit every year. They have to go to be, because they're a 501c3, and they're also part of municipality type government entity.
Oh, okay.
So they have to have an audit done.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that. Anytime there's loose cash, like at Centennial, there's always a problem you can arise from that. You know, and I guess if we keep giving them money for different things, I guess that's one of the things these organizations should give to us, you know, an audit on where our money's going, our taxpayer money. Also, I'd like to hear comment at times from the new incumbents and the people that are like Mrs. Levine and John Crandall. I haven't seen him at a meeting, and he's running for township trustee, and I don't think anybody, the public actually, has ever seen him. I see this gentleman here, and I'm sorry I forgot.
John Miller.
He's been here. It seems only like the new people run and show up to the voting, and the rest of the time they just have comments. Other than that, other than you, I guess you said, answered the question, I just wondered how the budget was, and I don't know if you have that at your fingertips, or if you don't.
I don't think you were here at the meeting. Our budget is updated monthly, we'll say. It's up on our website.
Okay.
And it shows estimate, what the estimate was, what the actual is, any variances. You know what section in there, they can find that easily? It's under fire.
Should be under the hot topics, not the top section, but it's...
Okay.
Right, and then as things progress and we pay more and changes, if there hasn't been any, but if there are, then we'll keep it updated.
So we're on course, as you say?
I would say as Chief and I would say, we're on budget, on time.
Oh, okay.
Well, we have the generator, which was $66,000, which was an additional cost. And there's a few other things that are additional costs on there too, that weren't part of the original bid, but they were as options on the original bid.
Okay, I was just asking.
I believe we're 2% over our initial budget, or estimate. So, I mean, with construction projects, we're considering that a big success, you know, and I drove by that.
Yes, that's why we're actually smiling.
Yeah.
And
I didn't know.
I don't want to bring it, the other people in the audience heard it, is at this point, we're through the foundation, and that's usually where most, you hit a sewer or a cave or whatever. And luckily, we're beyond all that, so we kind of sighed a little bit of relief that.
Yeah, I wasn't shooting at it, I just asked where it was, I didn't know.
Alan, I know this was a concern of yours too. I got the stormwater report. We gave them $800,000 in 2012. We only got $252 back. We gave them $800,000 for 2013. We've got an estimated finished total of $300,000 back. So we've given the county over $1 million extra, as far as I'm concerned, of money that they don't deserve, that they're using for administrative costs.
Al,
All right,
as long as we were going to bring this subject up, you know, I did talk to Greg at our last meeting and requested a meeting about the 10-mile creek clear-out. And I did get with Brian Miller from the county, who's handling the stormwater project. And, you know, some of the factors and figures that Mr. Haddad doesn't take into consideration was it cost over $1 million to form the stormwater district, which we paid for. You know, we're over half of their budget, so, you know, that was $500,000. And they are planning and saving for a large 10 Mile Creek project here in the near future, which is projected to be a couple $1 million. So, you know, you can't spend everything you have every year, or you would be, you know, out of money like some people.
Well, I guess to add to that, and I really didn't ask that question, but if we gave them $1 million and only got so much back, what if the next year, if we spend $2 million, do they still pay for that and not come back?
Yes.
They would do that,
Yes.
yes, if that comes in.
I mean, I don't know if that's part of the agreement, and I don't know about the big project or not. But I mean, that would seem like it would have some.
And you don't want to start off the first year and spend every penny you have. So they're starting slow, and, you know, I think some of the projects that they've done are truly helping the drainage, and, you know, we haven't had the floods that we've had, so we're in good shape.
That's dealing with the EPA also, and
Yes.
with that, you have to be all this stuff you have.
It's $100 for a permit, we could have done it ourselves, but that's going backwards.
Well, hey, one thing, Al, shifting gears on you just a bit, because I want to be clear, because I know Mr. Haddad's knowledge in general contracting. The $66,000 that was taken off, that's the additional charge on the general budget, we actually reduced that on our line item, so it's a wash. We took $66,000, we took out of the general fund as part of the construction, and it's a line item contract. So we basically took took the ledger as a debit credit on the $66,000. So there wasn't any additional $66,000 charge. It came right off the line item on the second page, and you can see that on the budget. It's real simple.
Okay, and I didn't realize it was on there, I'm not.
Well, you weren't here the meeting,
Yeah, it was a part of the fire money.
And I guess I want to say this about the budget on the fire station. You know, we've heard a lot about this and that. All I'm saying is, if that budget is correct, you should expect, it's been 40-some years in the business, you should expect 8 to 10% over your budget. Now, some of these items are things that pop up, other things are for the betterment. Hey, we had these lockers, but we found out that they don't hold up, and these are the ones that are spec, but we want to go to the better one. So some of these decisions are in, you know, you gentlemen, so we have to understand that, you know. But I don't want to see us 20% over, and, you know, that's where I'm, because that would be a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Zeidler made a commitment to the fire department and to this board that, you know, he's not going to save a penny now to hurt us long-term.
Absolutely.
So we're going to keep those things out, and we still have like $200,000 in the budget and $300,000 for land acquisitions that we could apply to it, so we're feeling pretty confident.
It's there,
We're not
but
touching it.
right now we don't plan on it.
That money's, okay.
But we're not
We're not
planning on
touching
touching it.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks, Al. Okay. I'll offer a motion to adjourn at 6:48.
Second?
No, that's fine.
Yes.
Yes.
How about you?
Yes.
I like a change up there.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
That right away.